Good evening, I'm Anna Jabłońska and welcome to Poland Daily. Katyn Memorial Day marks the 75th anniversary of the discovery of the horrible crime, the Katyn massacre, in which the Soviet NKVD murdered dozens of thousands of Polish officers taken as prisoners of war. The news was revealed by German Nazi troops who had found the bodies of 22,000 Polish military and police officers, as well as members of the Polish intellectual elites, murdered by the Soviets in 1940.
April 13th is the National Day of Remembrance for the victims of the Katyn massacre. Events that commemorate the murdered are taking place all over Poland. President of Poland Andrzej Duda laid down flowers in front of the Katyn massacre memorial in central Warsaw. Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki honored the victims in a ceremony at the Warsaw Citadel, a 19th-century fortress which houses the Katyn Museum. The Soviet Union denied for decades that they were behind the mass murder in Katyn and shifted the blame onto Germany. Since Poland was occupied by the Soviets after the war, this lie had to become the official narrative in Poland as well. 7,000 victims were murdered personally by the chief executioner of the NKVD, Wasyl Blokhin. The preferred method of execution was a shot to the back of the head. The victims were then buried in mass graves in the Katyn forest. The general public in Western Europe and North America might have heard of the atrocities that Nazi Germany committed against the Polish nation, but Soviet crimes are largely unknown in the West. Due to the nearly 5 decades-long communist occupation of Poland, some parts of Polish society are also unaware of the scale of the Soviet crimes in Poland. Participation by top state officials in commemoration events such as today's are also meant to inform the public about historical truth.
The ruling Law and Justice Party proposed a draft of the bill that will cut the wages of the Polish parliamentarians by 20%. The bill will be proceeded in the next sitting of the parliament in May. A member of the Polish parliament, Stanisław Gawłowski, was arrested today on corruption charges. Last night, the Polish parliament agreed to bring him to justice. Gawłowski is the Secretary General of the opposition party Civic Platform and was a member of a Kopacz government.
At 11 a.m., Gawłowski showed up with his lawyer, Roman Giertych, at the Szczecin prosecution. Right before he entered the building, he stated to the press that he is innocent.
Ja mam nadzieję, że dzisiaj po wysłuchaniu moich zeznań
I hope that upon hearing my testimony, the prosecution will drop the case entirely. There is no proof that I am guilty. The media has already shown that testimonies of people associated with the ruling Law and Justice Party are nothing but slander.
Zeznania tych osób związanych z PiS to zwykłe pomówienia.
Moments later, the Secretary General of Civic Platform was arrested by the Central Anti-Corruption Bureau. Politicians of the ruling Law and Justice Party stated on many occasions that no one is above the law, even MPs.
Platforma moim zdaniem przegrała swoją szansę właśnie dlatego, że
The Civic Platform, in my opinion, has lost its chance for success because it hasn't done what it should have a long time ago. I'm talking about admitting that not everything worked properly and holding people accountable for their mistakes. Grzegorz Schetyna missed his opportunity to do that just after they lost the elections.
Zmarnował tę okazję. Teraz już Platforma nic nie może zrobić.
2 weeks from now, the National Judicial Council will meet for the first time. This body is overseeing the selection of judges in Poland. According to the current law, the council can start functioning after the first meeting, which must be called by the first president of the Supreme Court, Małgorzata Gersdorf.
Members of this board were elected in February, but could not initiate their work without the first meeting that only Mrs. Gersdorf is entitled but objected to call for until today. After weeks of waiting, the parliament started to work on upgrading of the bill and allow President of State to initiate the work of this important constitutional body. However, Mrs. Gersdorf's decision is ending the legal dispute.
For a whole week, volunteers from the areas in the east, supported by Polish charities, could participate in the palliative care training. The participants of the project met with the Polish First Lady in the Presidential Palace on Wednesday and then had classes in the hospice. Today, they listened to lectures of priest Piotr Kieniewicz, who is also a doctor.
Rola wolontariuszy jest niezastąpiona, dlatego że
The volunteers play a crucial role in aiding the sick. No hospital can afford to have its personnel keeping all the patients company all the time, and the volunteers can pick up some shifts. That way, the ill will always have someone by their side when they are awake, so they don't feel lonely.
Żeby być w tej porze, kiedy dany chory jest przytomny.
Palliative care is an approach to specialized medical and nursing care for people with life-limiting illnesses. It focuses on making the people who have no hopes for recovery as comfortable and happy in their last moments as possible. The You Can Help Too training program is an initiative of 7 charity foundations providing help to Polish people on the East. Aushra, a Lithuanian volunteer, says that right before passing away a person cannot really speak but can supposedly hear and feel. She says that this is why someone needs to be there to at least hold a dying person's hand.
Я шла korytarzem I patrzę, że on już odchodzi. I tak.
This one time, I was walking down the hall as a volunteer and I saw a man who was passing away. I stopped and after a brief moment of reflection I approached him and laid my hands on his head. He hugged me in such a way that I couldn't take my hands back even if I wanted to, and then he was gone. It lasted around 15 minutes and I was with him the whole time.
Trwało 15 minut. I ja nie mogła ręki odsunąć. I trzeba było trzymać.
On April 13, ever since the 2010 Smolensk disaster, we witnessed the Yellow Tulip Day in front of the Polish Presidential Palace. The event was organized in the memory of the First Lady, Maria Kaczyńska. She was killed in the terrible plane crash on April 10, 2010, along with Polish President Lech Kaczyński and 94 other persons of the official Polish delegation traveling to commemorate victims of the Katyn massacre. Yellow tulips were favorite flowers of the First Lady.
Była to wspaniała kobieta.
She was a fantastic woman, supportive of her husband. She loved people and it shows now with crowds of people bringing flowers. She loved the yellow tulips and we come here every year to show that we remember that she was killed in Smolensk together with her husband.
W Smoleńsku.
It is painful. We knew her when she was alive. There is also family. There are witnesses of the tragedy. It is still painful. On the other hand, there is something optimistic and wonderful to present this person who died. She was a wonderful woman.
Tulips are the reminder of the April 2010 events when the coffin of the First Lady arrived in Warsaw. The commemoration was initiated in 2011 by Gazeta Polska Weekly.
Kiedy przywożono trumnę.
When the coffin was transported through the city, people were bringing flowers. They were throwing them on the mourning coach. Yellow tulips were the favorite flowers of Maria Kaczyńska. A year later, we thought to bring people together and organize the tulip event. The occasion is tragic, but in a way beautiful. It builds a special spiritual bond among people and also with that person who tragically died.
Thank you for watching Poland Daily and please join us tomorrow at the same time. Good night.